because it's getting to be autumn. It is getting to be sowing season. I've been gardening. You can see me watching a blueberry video, how to grow blueberries. Maybe I'll grow blueberries. But as the winter comes, I find it much more enjoyable to be up on the second floor and working at my sewing machine, which I'll have to fix. I want to use this book that I got for either Christmas or my birthday a little while ago to make a present for a family unit. It's one of my brothers-in-law, his girlfriend and their 3 kids. I want to make them some kind of crazy picnic blanket using this book. It's pretty neat. So, with that in mind, today I'm going on a road trip. But first, coffee. Temporary delay this morning. I messed up feeding the dogs, trying to do something special for them, and they fought with each other. So, before I leave, I am making them make up. So that I don't worry so much. And I might actually make them stay in separate rooms while I'm gone. Puppies. Dogs are safely quarantined from each other. So I'm off. I've got a couple audiobooks to try out, and aside from reading an email from my friend, I've got Chungus Safari by Milton J. Davis. It's a super light action adventure type of book that my friend Kyle lent to me, and I really need to read it because I had it for a year and he just asked for it back, so I'm terrible. So I'll give a couple audiobooks a shot, and yeah. Puppies. Of course, it's looking a little bit scraggly because it's beginning of September. Nice little hydrangea, I do believe. Second bloom on whatever this is down here. I'll look it up. Daylilies. Little swale. Right here at the municipal building.
Turn around, look up. Look up.
Sugar.
This way.
Over this way. Sugar. Look. Look up. Hello.
You think like it's food?
She
Here,
is
come here.
pretty dumb.
Come here, sugar. Here, sit down, sit down. Lay down. You had a beautiful thing where you were laying
Yeah,
down.
lay down, Mommy. Lay
Yeah.
down.
So
Sit.
cute.
Sit, baby. Sit.
Oh,
Look.
it's alright. Look at her tail going.
There you go.
Super happy.
There you go.
Sugar. Yeah, she hears all the beeping and everything.
Jesus,
Yep.
boy, she's got it made.
I'm back, and it's raining! Marcus is fine. He's concerned that it's wet outside now. So, I was listening to Black Rabbit Hall by Eve Chase. It's a new, I think it's a debut. It was an audiobook that was available. And I was trying to go a little bit out of my comfort zone. Black Rabbit Hall is about, it's two timelines. So there's the story of the family who owns it when in 1968, when something terrible happened that we don't really know about yet. And the second timeline in present day-ish, 30 years later, when a woman who had visited nearby the same house as a child is engaged and looking for a wedding venue. I don't know, it's just, I'm trying to enjoy it, but it's just really predictable. I feel like I'm only in the 4th or 5th chapter listening to it, and I feel like I already know how the book is going to end. The reviews on Goodreads say that it's really exciting and amazing, and I feel bad that I just don't get it. I'll probably return it. It was nice to have something to listen to, though. And at lunch, I got to read half a chapter of this book, Chunga's Safari. It's, like I was saying, it's just an action-adventure type of book. And it features Changa Diop. He's the main action hero guy with his sorceress sidekick and then silent meathead sidekick. And they have to save the world from an evil other sorceress who has gathered up all the talismans and is going to do something terrible with them to destroy the world. So they're on an adventure in Zimbabwe, and I really like the premise of the book. There's a short introduction by Charles R. Saunders that says, "Once there was a world in which sea lanes and trade winds connected scores of exotic kingdoms on opposite shores of a great ocean. It was real. The world of the African and Asian lands washed by the Indian Ocean." I think a lot of times I get directed to African works or Black American works based on Western Africa. So it's nice to get a different perspective of the gigantic continent that it is. I think my only other experience with it was reading Silence by Shisaku Endo, and I did not have a sense of history or geography at the time that I first read it to really appreciate it. So I'm enjoying it. And I'm on part 2, chapter 12 of Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin. So far, we've got part 1 is the election of Abraham Lincoln, not only by his party as a nominee, but by the American people as the president of a crumbling empire. Because, of course, the secession ordinances were carried out in the liminal period between his election and his inauguration. So he is coming to Washington, D.C. as the president of a much smaller group of United States. And one of the things that is touching is you get a good sense of how all these characters knew each other. So senators and representatives of the Congress had to say goodbye to their colleagues as they seceded from the Union. And what's more, Abraham Lincoln was considering certain Southern politicians for positions on his cabinet, in addition to just the general connections of people knowing Jefferson Davis, etc. So I'm really enjoying the buddy read. Of course, there's a car alarm. Of course. Enjoying the buddy read with Beacon Hill Books, and I'm glad that I got to go on an adventure today while it was sunny, and now it's perfect time for reading. Hey, it's dark now. I've just read chapter 12 of Team of Rivals, and it's a letdown of a chapter, not because of anything on the author's part, just because we spent, almost 200 odd pages with exposition like a Tarantino film. My goodness. And then we had this amazing dark horse candidacy and just rocket rise to the presidency of Abraham Lincoln. And then within the first month of his actual presidency, the shots are fired at Fort Sumter and civil war has begun. And to see, he didn't fumble necessarily, but there were mistakes. And just to have to grapple with the imperfections of Abraham Lincoln, as well as his humanity, and kind of balance that that knife edge of, he is just a man. He was a great man. He was an imperfect man. And it's not, at the end of the day, like we can go back and change any of this. But it's impressive to read about how much he was dealing with. And yet he still had the composure to be able to tell jokes at the dinner table and then discreetly invite his cabinet colleagues, his cabinet members, to a separate room in his house to break the news of imminent war. Like, wow. Pardon my language, but it's like, this chapter is shit just got real. That's what the title of this chapter should be. So, but I'm enjoying my evening so much that I think I'm going to take a bath now and keep this going. And now we're back to where we started. The bed with a quilt and a Marcus. With some little bit of browsing this reference book while I drift off to sleep. So he thinks he's a ninja. Do you see this? He's a ninja. How did he get there? I have no idea.